Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here tonight. I'm so honored and excited that you're all here. And welcome. Welcome to the Mundane to Magical webinar. I'm very excited to have you all here, and I am so excited. So, on this call tonight, the Mundane to Magical, we are going to be taking a look at our foundational spiritualized parenting. What does that mean? And more importantly, what is it in it for you? How can you start transforming and radically change your life? I had some, for me, I felt like kind of risky wording for this webinar. Mainly because I don't usually put myself out there as somebody who's really passionate and pleasurable, and yet I've been hiding that aspect of myself, and I'm not going to do it anymore. And I want the same for you. I want us, sometimes I feel like as a mom, I've put myself in this little box, and in this box is what's appropriate and what's okay. And especially when I started this aspect of it of spiritual parenting and spiritual magical mothering, and I had to really get over my fear, I guess it was, and get into my uncomfortable zone of being really okay with putting my whole self out there. And part of my whole being is being very passionate and seeking pleasure. I love the simple things in life that give so much pleasure. And so we're going to start with a meditation. I love starting webinars with a meditation because it gets us really grounded, and it gets us into a space that is crucial. So I'm actually going to hop out of this for just a moment, and I want to just say hello. And if you could, at the very bottom of your screen, go into the chat portion. At the bottom of the screen, it'll have a little chat box. If you could just press the chat box and let me know if you can hear me. Can you see me? Could you see my screen when I had it up? And I believe, May, you're calling in from your telephone, possibly, or your iPad. So if you could type into the chat box and just say, yes, I can hear you. Awesome, Crystal. Thank you. And I didn't want to get all the way through the webinar and then you're like, wait, I couldn't hear you. So, all right, I'm going to go back to sharing my screen, and that way everybody can see, hear, and all that kind of good stuff. All right, so let's do that. All right, beautiful. Okay, so let's take a moment and get really excited and open. Good, May. Thank you for letting me know. And let's open our hearts up to a meditation. And in this meditation, I call it the cracked heart meditation, and you'll find out why. But it's just something that came to me about a month ago, and I've been working with it a lot. And I have to swear that this is literally what changed the relationship for me with my husband. And my husband hasn't changed. Hasn't done anything different. But with this meditation, I felt like I was finally able to crack my heart open to love him more and to receive his love that was always there, but I had like this hardened heart towards it. So I want you to take a deep breath And let it out. And let's do 2 more. Take a deep breath in. And let it out. And we're going to do 1 more deep breath in. And let it out. Okay. And with this cracked heart meditation, I want us to imagine that we're sitting in a field underneath the moon and the stars, and all of their light is pouring onto us. The little shimmers, and specks of light all scattered throughout the sky, and the moon is just pouring in her amazing radiant light onto our body, and we feel it actually absorbing into us. And at this point, we want to focus all that light into our hearts. And then I want you to feel that light as it's on the outside of your heart, and your light within your heart is waiting to reach the heart and the light of Mother Moon, Sister Moon, and all the stars. So feel your light. And then suddenly, unexpectedly, a crack forms in your heart that you didn't even know was so encased and so surrounded and guarded. You have to be so careful with your heart. You can't let it get broken and hurt again by the same people in your life that have always hurt you and judged you and criticized you before. And yet there's a crack. There's a crack in it, and the light is shining so bright. It literally shines brighter than the sun, the moon, and the stars. Your light peering out of that little crack is bright, brilliantly light. Oh, and then another crack has opened up, and it is now shining out of your heart so bright, so brilliant, so magnificent. It's now blinding, and it's now filling the whole room. Your light is filling the entire room, the entire space. Breathe that in, that uncomfortable energy of now no longer being guarded, no longer being able to hide. Sit in this space for just a moment. You are safe. It might be uncomfortable right now in this moment, but you are safe. You are so loved. You are cherished. You are an amazing goddess. You are an amazing creation of the divine that has such light within you that has to break out. Finally, freely, it must break out. And I want you to take a deep breath in this moment and release. And you can open your eyes if you are closing them. And I want you to take this feeling of being a little bit exposed and having these now shivers and slivers of cracks within your heart. And I want you to feel how different it is being vulnerable. I feel like when I became a mom, I had to cover up my heart. I had to stop being so vulnerable because I had to be so altogether and brave for my kids. I had to have it all together. I couldn't show my cracks. I couldn't be vulnerable. And you know what? I stopped receiving a lot of love. I could pour love into my kids, but I couldn't feel it in the same manner because I had protected myself a little bit. I didn't want every cry that they screamed out of pain or new experiences to break my heart anymore. And yet I was missing out on being able to love and receive love from my husband in a way that was so vulnerable. So I offer you over the next couple days or couple weeks if you need time, or couple months if you need to heal your heart from any hurt, and from not wanting to be vulnerable. I offer you to take time to, maybe in just in the quietness of your own space, to let those cracks get a little bigger, to let those cracks get a little wider, to let those cracks shine a little brighter. And pretty soon it's going to feel really uncomfortable not having that openness, not having that vulnerability. So if you want to type into the chat if you felt any shifts or felt anything from that meditation, I'd love to hear from you. And you can type in the chat anytime. I've got it open on my screen so I can see what everybody's saying. And I just want this to be a space for the next 30 minutes or so where you feel like you can open up, feel like you can be in a space of allowing yourself to be vulnerable, to allow for the transformation to happen. So I'm really excited, and I'm so honored that you're taking the time to be here tonight. So are you ready? Are you ready? Thank you, Crystal. She said that was a beautiful visualization. Thank you. Are you ready for more passion, fun, and finally feeling empowered, not just as a mom, but as a woman? I mean, gosh, do you remember before you became a mom, before maybe even you got married or were in this relationship that you're in? Do you remember how unstoppable you were? Like, bah, 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 bah. Like, I remember I was there, and then all of a sudden, like, I became a mom and I got meek and quiet, and I nested with my baby that was so precious, and I just kind of felt like I had to separate myself from all the passion and fire and good stuff that happened prior to being a mom. And so I ask you, what is holding you back? You know, what's keeping you from being there? Is it just this mindset of like, a mom doesn't have these feelings, or she's not passionate, I have to wait for my kids to go away to college before my husband and I can, have fun again? Or do I have to, I'm so full of guilt, everything just feels like so heavy. Is there a lot of guilt and judgment with what's going on in your life? Is there grievances? Are you holding on to grievances of like, oh, man, I don't even want to be next to my husband. Oh, he drives me crazy. Or, you know what I mean? Are there, what's holding you back? If you want to share, you can. If you don't, no big deal. But I offer you this space to think about what's holding you back. Has there been a shift, or have you had this blocked heart for a long time? And if so, then maybe you came into mothering with that. And, that's okay too, because we can explore that as well. So I want to share my own story of struggle. And this is my story of how I came to know myself. So I was a nanny prior to becoming a mom. I was a nanny for almost 15 years. And kids have just always been my life. Kids have been just what I knew, what I did. And I just helped moms, even way back before I had kids. And then I knew that once I became a mom, oh man, everything would just be perfect. And it was. I had my son, and then 4 short months later, I said, let's have another one. I know that'll be like, I'll be good. And I was pregnant with my daughter, and I got this real sense that I could no longer live in mainstream society as was expected of me. So my husband and I sold all of our belongings and moved into a travel trailer, and we parked in my mom's driveway of her house, so that I could give birth by myself. My sister was there, my mom was there, my husband was there, and my stepdad was there, and my son, who was 15 months old at the time. I labored on my own. I woke my husband up about 30 minutes before I started pushing. They made a bath for me. I waddled into the bath of my mom's house, and I pushed out a baby girl, all from start to finish in about 4 hours, and with no medical assistance. And I had to do this because I knew that that was right for me. I had to know in the depth and in the core of my being that my body as a woman knew exactly what to do. And it did. And it did it perfectly and beautifully and better than I could have ever done with anybody else there. Because with my son, I did have a midwife there, and 36 hours of waiting and struggling and just such distraught, I guess. I just felt watched, and I felt like I was a nuisance. And I'm sure I wasn't, but that's how I felt. And so I had to do it on my own the next time. And so when my daughter turned 3 days old and my son was 15 months, my husband and I left the safety of my mom's driveway and went and lived off-grid in the desert, in the middle of the desert, on our 10 acres of property to just be. Oh, it was heaven. It was blissful struggling. Man, we siphoned water out of a barrel to do our dishes, to take a shower, to do everything. Everything was a struggle. I mean, we had to work hard physically for every aspect of our lives during that 5 months. And yet I was present. I was being. I was so in the moment. It was amazing. And then my husband wanted to make money, so we came back into mainstream society and moved into a house. And I was really sad. I was really depressed. I was really heartbroken that I couldn't just live this hippie life forever, that I had to come back into the world of stuff. And I thought if just my physical surroundings would change, everything in my life would change. If my husband would change, if my kids would change. And I kept blaming everybody else for my own life. And then I got struck with the biggest transformational idea that I'd ever received. And it was, wow, nothing has to change except for me. If I change, then everything in my life changes. And I keep getting that same message over and over and over, which is how this Cracked Heart meditation came about. If I change me and I open myself up and I transform me, whoa, my whole life transforms. So our first aspect of what we're doing is, what are your expectations? How are your expectations keeping you from having a passionate, sexy, juicy, hot relationship? How are your expectations, and what are your expectations of your partner? Do you even realize that you have expectations of your partner? I didn't really, until I didn't anymore. I gave up my expectations that my husband, as the primary income earner, our primary income earner, he is and was, I gave up the fact that he would earn income for us. I released that expectation. I released the expectation that he would work. I released the expectation that he would spend a certain amount of time with us. I released the expectation that he would do everything the way I wanted him to. Man, that was scary. And yet time after time after time, every time I release an expectation, I'm blown away. because I have nothing to compare it to. I just constantly get surprised and excited and uplifted by everything that does happen because I have no expectations to let me down. So I have a mundane magical deck of cards, and one of the cards is expectations. And I'd like to read what the expectations card says. And it says, releasing all expectations will create a life of true freedom. As expectations are removed from all situations, all people and experiences, everything becomes perfect. Living a life free of expectations creates a space of gratitude for everything because nothing is expected. Life becomes a very generous, loving, and warm place to live without any disappointments or needs for forgiveness. When you don't have expectations, there's nothing to forgive, ever, because everything is perfect. It's a big step, but there are little steps that can be taken. So let's go through, oh, there's the picture. So let's go through, and I this is a picture of us laying in front of fireworks, and we're going, whoa, the kids' faces, I love this. But what are your expectations? I mean, we have expectations for everything. We go out to 4th of July, and we expect fireworks. What if there weren't? What if we dropped that expectation that whatever happened was perfect? What if we went through life like that? So your expectations are literally suffocating your marriage. Oh, let's see. There we go. Okay, so 4 steps to connecting without expectations. Let me escape from here real fast. Sorry, guys. I need to move the chat. It was right in the middle of my screen. There we go. So, it's going to have me do it again. Sorry. Okay, so 4 steps to connecting without expectations. The first step is to see all behavior from your husband to your kids to the grocery the grocery clerk, as their behavior as a way to fulfill a need. All behavior is just trying to fill a need. And when we see that, we can connect and try to really see the need without any expectations. And then the second step is to honor the feelings that are expressed through behavior and spoken. And oftentimes I think, as adults, we didn't learn to, honor our own feelings as kids. That wasn't how generationally most of us were brought up. We were told, stop crying, don't stop screaming. We were told to stop a lot when our emotions got too big and uncomfortable for our parents. And so now it's our turn. When our emotions and when the emotions of our kids and our husbands are getting big, feel and feel those emotions. Don't take them in as your own, but allow them to flow through you so you can have empathy. Feel those emotions that are being expressed and spoken, and then, let them go, and so that you can fully feel what is going on with them. And then the third step is to always choose to connect by seeing whoever it is in front of you as an aspect of yourself. You're a part of them, and yet you're having a totally different experience than them. If you're of the philosophy that we're all one energy, that everything is energy and we're all one energy, then we're all one, and yet each of us are just having a different experience in that energy. And then the fourth and so crucial understanding of being able to release expectations is to know that they are their own unique magical being. And if they're not being their own unique magical being, then they're living up to somebody else's expectations of them and not being authentic. And then what happens? They can't shine their light. They can't be the unique emanation of the creator and of this energy that they're supposed to be. And then what happens? They start, fading. Their hearts get so hardened and their light gets so dimmed that they fade. And I'm sure you've seen this. I'm sure you've seen your friends or your husband or your kids when this happens. And so us as magical mothers want to open, crack our hearts open so we can pour out love and we can receive love and help and show others in our lives how to be their magical selves. So our next stop on the train of we got through how to create more passion, and creating passion is all about releasing the expectations. Once you release those expectations, oh my God, I am telling you, your husband will become a sexy beast because you're like, I don't expect anything of you except for you to just be. And I'm being and you're being, and that's kind of hot. Okay. There's like this thing that happens when you're being, because you can't have expectations and be at the same time, which brings us right into, how do you find more pleasure? How do we get more pleasure into our lives? And this is pleasure in our relationship, in our like physical, intimate relationships, and in our mothering. How do we get more pleasure out of just life? How does it become a place of like, ooh, that's yummy, I want more? Yeah, present moment thinking. That's how we get more pleasure. And I've got 7 aspects of this, 7 really fun and reminding ways. If you want to grab a pen and a piece of paper and write them down, you can do that. But I will be talking about them. And so the first one is to be free. Talking about expectations, it's such a freeing and liberating experience to release those expectations. And so to be free, really like let it go, be free, wiggle, be free right now, do it. I'm waiting. Be free. Take those like chains off, because we take chains on ourselves. Take them off. You don't need them. You don't need them right now. Take them off. And then take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. Be free. Be free. You are free to do and be and say and be authentic and shine your light right now. You can be free to do that. You're free to dance and move and sing and be as exactly as authentic as you are. Be free. The next aspect is to remember that we are always creating memories. And this has to do with present moment thinking, precisely because when we remember that we're creating memories, we want them to be pleasurable. We so often remember things from our own childhood that were not pleasurable. So let's remember that in the present moment, we are always creating memories. And in creating memories, they have feelings, they have sights, they have sounds. So let's create a life of being present and in the moment, knowing that memories are being created. And to have that as the tone of our life of being. And so be in the flow. Be in the flow of life, of what it hands you, of what you gather. Be in the flow to receive. Receive so openly now that you've got those cracks in your heart. Receive so fully. Be in the flow. Be in the flow to whatever happens and release all expectations and be in the moment. Allow for life to happen. Allow for shift. Allow for those crazy, dramatic transformations to happen. Allow. Allow for life to co-create with you, to give you amazing surprises, to give you amazing setup so that you can be authentically you. Allow for experiences to happen that might have happened before, but now you're going to do things differently because you're going to be in the moment and you're going to be authentically you, and you're going to be able to be in the flow and allow for that flow to take you. And then we're going to stay in gratitude. And we are going to be so thankful and so open and so grateful for every aspect of it because it's all perfect, because we have no expectations anymore, and we're just going to be in gratitude. We're going to stay in the moment during all of this. And then we're going to step into awe, which is 7. So be in the moment is number 6, and be in awe is number 7. And so we're going to be in awe of this life. And every time I say that, I kind of get like a whoosh, I get a wave of kind of overwhelmingness. And I think if we just stepped into that awe space, like, wow, this person before me, whether they're 3 or 4 or 14, came out of my body as a unique creation and a unique magical being, and are now finding their authentic selves. And how can I be in awe of them so that they can see how magical they are? And they can know that they are free to be in the moment, to shine their beautiful lights. So now we've gone through 2 aspects that I wanted to share tonight, and we have one more aspect that I want to share. But I want to take a moment and share with you a program that I have going on. It's the Mundane to Magical Foundational Spiritualized Parenting Program. And in this program, it's a way to really free yourself, to take those chains off. And it goes through these 3 aspects in depth, plus 4 other aspects. So there's 7 parts to this program altogether. And in this program, we go through 7 aspects, and I want to just ask you these 7 questions. And they're yes and no questions, so if you could maybe just write down your answers and see how many of them you get. So the first question is do you think you effectively communicate with your child? Yes or no? To get your needs met, to get their needs met? Yes or no? Do you have rituals and habits set up that you've intentionally created to help you create more ease and efficiency in your life? Yes? No? Maybe? A little bit? Do you have a rhythm, a daily, a weekly, a seasonal rhythm set up? Yes or no? Are you free of any limiting thoughts or beliefs about what is possible as a mother? And have you conquered any generational themes, or have you conquered any generational themes of parenting, or do you parent as your parent did? And are you able to truly enjoy just being present with your child, not thinking about any other aspects of your life? That was question number 6. Do you have tools in place to help you create more magic and ease any overwhelm that comes up throughout the day? So those are those 7 questions. You can answer yes or no. And that's really the questions that are the basis of this program. If you feel like you would like help, or you would like to dive in deeper to these and say, oh man, no, I don't have a lot of those aspects, then I'm going to give you an opportunity to dive in further with that. So if you answered no to more than 3 of these, this program was created for you, and it might be a really good fit for you, but we can dive in deeper to that to see if that is true. And so let's get into the final aspect of this webinar. And that's Do you know your worth? Do you know what you're worth? Do you know? I mean, I was looking up statistics for this webinar, and it was something like a full-time mom would make $138,000. $138,000 a year with everything that she does, if she got paid, itemized for everything. Do you know that? Do you know how valuable you are? Because you are. You're really, really amazing and magical, and you are the one. You are the thing that needs to be known. You are the piece to that missing puzzle piece. So, you know that saying, happy wife, happy life? Well, statistics prove it. And I was doing this research on, is it really true? Is the magical mothering, are they really the keeper of the home? What does that mean? And, this happy wife, happy life thought popped into my head, and I went, okay, let's start there. And yes, amazingly, there was a study. There's been a ton of studies actually about this specific quote, because people want to know, is it true? And I'm telling you, it is. And I'm like, whoa. So in the Journal of Marriage and Family, they looked into it really deeply, and they, I think it was over like 600 couples. And these couples were actually like over 60 years old. They'd been married over 30 years or more. And it was like a study from like over years, and how, they even had to write down their mood during the day of when they were answering, like, were they grumpy? Were they hungry? They took into account like so many aspects. And the amazing thing is they found out it was incredibly accurate. Even the husbands' lives that were like overall miserable, or like in general, they had miserable lives. They didn't like their jobs. They were just grumpy men. Like, if their lives were just miserable, they actually enjoyed higher level of happiness if their wives were content. Wow, that's big. So, this is big stuff. This is big. And how do you get there? How do you get to being content? How do you get to being the magical keeper of your home? Empowerment. What does that mean? This is my version of empowerment, but empowerment is to be radiant lights. Empowerment emanates from within us because of who we are. We are being our genuine, authentic, creative, amazing selves. And when you are feeling confident and you have released all judgments and expectations, you create the space to allow the deepest desires of within you to finally be sought after, because you're empowered to I'm going to just soak up everything that I can. So only with imitation will your children actually learn how to be empowered themselves. So we have to be the guides. We have to be the living, shining guides so that we can brightly light the way for our kids, and we can be the magical keepers of our homes. Because if we can't be in that space of authenticity and amazingness, then who's going to guide our homes? Who's going to keep our homes content and happy? Who's going to help our children succeed? Who's going to create the happiness and the pleasure and the feelings of fulfillment for everyone in our homes? And it's not that it all depends on you, but if you want these things, then it does. Because your kids aren't going to make you happy. Your husband's not going to make you happy. Where you live isn't going to make you happy. Having a life out on the farm, living simply, is not going to make you happy. It has to come from within. Our physical reality gets transformed from our inner mentality. And that's just the way it is. When we transform our within and our inner self, our outer self gets transformed. So, if you're currently unhappy in your marriage or unhappy in your life overall, I want to offer you an opportunity to have a mommy makeover session with me. Crystal has already had one of these, and it was really fun, and it was really amazing because we were able to really uncover and sift through some of the blocks that were in her way, stopping her. And so I offer this to everyone. I offer you this chance to really step into this. Is this program right for you? Is this transformation right for you? Is working with me right for you? And so we can go over and dive deep into some aspects of your lives and go through these questions and see if we can create the space for transformation for you. So with this program, you'll discover why no one else creates your life. No one else creates your peace. No one else creates your happiness. No one else can give you freedom except for you. You are the co-creator of your life. So in order for you to finally be happy, you have to take back your control of that. You have to become empowered enough to step into that. You're going to be able to feel passionate after this program because your desires are going to be fueled. Your desires are going to be lit up, and you're going to be able to create more passion in every aspect of your life, in your relationships, in your mothering, in your life, in your business. You're going to be able to soar because you're going to live authentically. So you'll not be as susceptible to criticism after this program because you're going to really feel and know who you are. And you're going to know that deep in your core because you're going to have the tools and the techniques, and you're going to have rhythms set up so that you can soar, so that you can soar through life rather than just always kind of having barely enough time to get everything done in the day, let alone you. Let's say goodbye to that aspect of it. You're going to be able to communicate more authentically, and you're going to be able to honor those feelings of your kids and in every relationship of your life. And your heart is going to continuously open to the transformation, and you're going to choose to connect, and you're going to choose to be open and connect and be in the moment. So in this, if this program sounds like something you'd like to maybe explore deeper with me, or if you just want to have a session with me to kind of see if there's things in your way blocking you, if you'd like to open up a little bit more, I offer you this time to invest a little bit of time into you, invest this time into your life. So you can go to magicalmothering.com/mommy makeover session / and I am going to stop sharing my screen. Okay, so I'm just so grateful that you guys were able to take this time to be with me. And May, I just saw your answers. I love that. I love connecting with you, magical mothers. It's like it makes my heart happy. So I'm really, really excited and honored that you took the time to be with me. If you want to type in the chat anything that you gleaned or anything that you're going to try out over the next week, I'd love to hear that. If you're in the Magical Mothering Facebook group, you can post kind of your insights there, and I'm hoping that people, after they watch the webinar replay, they'll be able to kind of say, ooh, I'm going to try that. I want that little nugget. Can I really release expectations? You don't have to be as dramatic as I am, releasing expectations that your husband's going to work anymore. That might be a bit much for some of you, but you can release, the expectation that your husband or your kids are going to listen to everything you're going to say. Maybe you're going to release your expectation that you're going to tell them no so much. Maybe you're going to release expectations of yourself. Maybe you feel like, oh man, my kids expect me to, have a clean house all the time. I don't. My kids know that our house is clean when it's clean. Every Wednesday I do a deep clean. And if throughout the week that doesn't happen anymore, it is what it is. I've released so many expectations of myself, but I had to release expectations of other people before I could shine that light on myself and then go, oh, I think I'm expecting them to have this done and I'm using that. So expectations, release them where you can, release them of your husband, your partner, your kids, your friends, and yourself. Release just a couple of them and feel them out, see how it feels. And with the expectations are judgments, release the fact that, you might judge that your husband does something different and it irks you and it bothers you. Release that judgment. Let him be authentically him for him. I'm telling you, it'll create so much passion in your life for him, because you're going to be like, oh man, who is this sexy guy that I have no expectations of, and he's all mysterious again? And you know what I mean? It's just like, it creates that fun. Like, who is he? What is he going to do? I don't know. Okay, let's explore this. And then find the pleasure. Be in the moment with your kids. Be. Just be present. And then know your value. Know that you are so incredibly amazing. You are so incredibly important, and you set the tone for your entire home. You are the magical keeper of your home. And if you are not setting the tone of peace and joy and passion and pleasure and shining your light brightly, who is? Your kids don't know how. We have to imitate that for them. So be that imitation. Be that magnificent, magical, authentic being that you are, and shine your bright light. I want to see it. I do. I do. I know your kids do. Your kids want to be like, who is this magical lady that just happened in this house this morning? You know what I mean? Wake up in the morning and be, with your cracked heart, your magical self. And you're going to transform your home into a home where they're like, whoa, we don't have to be anything that I'm not. Whoa. You know what I mean? That creates transformation. So allow for the people in your life to be, but more importantly, allow yourself to be authentic. Allow yourself to be this bright emanating light that is going to transform the entire world, because you are the missing piece of the puzzle that we all need. We need you. We need your light to heal, to transform. So again, thank you so much for being and taking this time with me. And if you want to dive a little deeper, I'd love to have a mommy makeover session with you. You can just go to magicalmothering.com/mommy makeover session / and sign up, and we will chat away and dive deep and uncover any blocks that are holding you back. And I'm just so honored. Again, thank you. Have such a blessed and magical night, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Good night.